Hey my lovelies. Well, anyway, what I sort of wanted to chat about is depression. So our coping with Fibro today is going to be dealing with depression. So Thomas rang me last night. He'd heard from a person he knows that a friend of theirs who lived with depression had hung herself, and he said to me, "Lyndsey, you wouldn't do that, would you?" And it really hit me because I was thinking of all the times where I just have sat and cried and cried and cried and thought I could just take on my painkillers and be done with it. Because the thing about living with chronic pain is even on a day where you're up and about, you're still in pain. And what the most frustrating thing about it is, people act as if you're sore because you've got depression, and that really, really gets you down. Because for me, I wasn't depressed. I wasn't a depressed person. I am depressed because of the amount of pain I'm in, the amount of medication I have to be on, the fact that my life has changed so dramatically. And obviously I've done the video grieving for me, but I don't think that's the same as being depressed. But obviously part of the grief is going through the depression. And I'm not saying that every single person is going to get depressed, but the majority of people that I know with fibro or CFS or ME or lupus or whatever, they battle with depression. And some of them, yes, battled with depression before, but that doesn't mean the rule is everybody with depression or everybody with fibro already had depression, because I didn't. I may have struggled with bouts of depression years ago. I don't even know whether it could be called depression, because it's nothing. Well, to be honest with you, the only times I've ever been really depressed is whenever I've been really, really ill. Like whenever my pain was really, really extreme years ago, and I would be so angry as well. I could have just fought with everyone, and thankfully I'm not that person anymore. Growing up has changed that, but anyway, get to the depression. Earlier this year, I kind of had no friends around me, and it was a really, really hard time because I couldn't really do anything for myself, and my family is all so busy that they have their own things going on. So apart from Thomas and his family, I was on my own. And because Thomas sort of works 50 plus hours a week, and he works nights, it meant that I was on my own during the day when he was sleeping. I was on my own during the night when he was at work. And it would get really, really lonely, and I would find that I was crying every single time that I was sitting on my own, because I was in so much pain. I wasn't even able to make cups of tea for myself or anything like that. I would just be sitting there. I just felt like a vegetable. I felt so useless and so alone. I really, really struggled with that. And if it hadn't have been for my online friends, especially Sharon and Lisa back at that time, it would have been even worse. But it really helped to have those girls around me, even though it was just, online. It meant a great deal to me to have the love of those girls. And that's why Sharon and I set up the group, because we wanted to make sure that nobody else would have to go through this all alone. And I mean, through opening that, I've become close to so many other girls, the likes of Renee as well. I would be incredibly close to now, even though we don't talk every day. You know, I would be really close to her. And it was through knowing that she was suffering as well that we really bonded. And I have so much love for them. I have so much love for all the girls and any men as well that's in my group. But those that I'm really close to, I really have a lot of love and think about all the time, and hope that they're not going through the same pain that I am whenever it's happening. You know, I'm hoping that they're having better days and things like that. But as I was supposed to be talking about depression, I don't know, my head's away with it today. When Thomas said that to me last night, you know, you wouldn't do that, I had to step back and go, would I? Would I do it still? And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't. I don't think I would, because right now I have more support than I've ever had. Obviously, you guys know I have Lynn, and Lynn has been amazing. I mean, we got back in touch in February, I think it was, and it was a time whenever we both really needed somebody. God just knew we needed somebody in our lives at that time. So he... don't know what that noise was. Well then, what is you doing? Sounded like she was rolling something down the stairs. Weirdo. Oh, she's playing with something. Anyway, God just knew we both needed someone in our lives at that time, and he brought us back together. And we have been so close since. It's been so good for both of us to have that person in our lives that we can turn to, that we can spend time with, that we can open up to, we can cry with, you know. It's really important to have somebody that you can just be honest with, you can just be yourself, and you're not behind the door about anything, you don't hide away from anything about how you're feeling. I mean, I don't know, but if it wasn't for me, I don't think Lynn would have gone to the doctors to find out she had sciatica. She was just living with flipping pain. And she's also found out that the headaches that she was having was down to the sciatica as well. You know, it's things like that. We all need somebody to encourage us to do things, to be there for us, to support us. But I had really close friends, and we kind of drifted through different reasons, but two of the closest friends that I had, I no longer really see, and one of them isn't for the want of trying at the minute, you know, it's just kind of like, she's really busy with work and everything, and by the time that she's free in the evening, I'm mostly exhausted, done in from it just being awake during the day, so it hasn't really worked out. But it is really sad whenever you are so alone, and it's easy to get more depressed being that alone. So you do need to make sure you have people around you, and if you don't have friends physically around you, I urge you to pop over to my Facebook group, because there's so many girls there that you'll get to know and get to love as much as I do, and you get that support that you need, and hopefully it'll help with depression that you may be battling. I have to say that the pain and everything that I go through, it is easy to sit and just cry and cry and cry. I mean, the other night I was just sitting and I just started crying, and I was just so fed up. I was just sick of it, and almost just held me, and it was lovely. It just made me feel better. But it is one of those things where, how do you expect to not get depressed when you're battling pain and fatigue and even the brain dysfunction every single day in life? It's not easy. And as much as people try to understand. Those who aren't going through it will never understand, and you get the people who will compare you to others, and they will make you feel like you're not as bad as you think you are, and you know, all that sort of stuff, and that just helps add to it. And then there's the people who will make you feel guilty because you're saying no, you can't get out to do something, and it's getting people to understand that you will have to cancel last minute sometimes, and it just cannot be helped. It's one of those things where people just have to understand that your life is that way now. I felt really bad a couple of months ago. I was supposed to be going to see a friend of mine, and I hadn't slept all night, and I chatted to her through the night because she'd been awake feeding. And the next morning I had fallen asleep around 8 o'clock, and I'd woke up about 11 and had the text and say, like, I am so not in a state for going. And I understand why she was annoyed, because she'd sat in with their children that morning waiting to find out what was happening, only for me to say that I wasn't coming. But unfortunately it's not something that I can really know in advance. You know, I could have woke up that morning and felt great and gone, yep, okay, I'm going. But I didn't. You know, that was one morning that I woke up and I just felt horrendous, and I ended up sitting crying for the rest of the day because I just felt so guilty that I was affecting other people's lives then as well. And, you know, I don't want to be messing people about. I don't want to have people just sitting waiting to know whether I'm coming or not for me to cancel last minute, but it's not something that I can help. It was the same on Monday night there. I was supposed to meet one of my friends for coffee, but it would have meant me walking a half an hour walk there and back again, and I just was in no fit state to do it. So I had to cancel. You know, it's things like that that really get me down, because it takes away from me being independent. It takes that part of my life away, which really is so frustrating for me, because I want to be that independent person again. I want to be able to get up and go whenever I want, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I struggle with, is that I've lost my independence, and my whole life has just been so turned upside down, and I've lost my whole identity. And as much as I am learning to be different, to do different things, and obviously I have the 2 rooms that I'm changing about and will be decorating and everything, so it's great that I have that to focus on, because if it wasn't for that I would probably just go insane, especially this week, because I don't really feel up to doing the beauty videos, although I have spent a lot of time sorting out rooms, so I'm a wee bit exhausted. So there was no beauty videos last week, there's none this week, but they will be back next week as normal. But it does just kind of, it annoys me that I can't do the things that I want to do. I mean, I have so many beauty videos that I really want to get done, but just because I haven't felt the best, I haven't been able to do it. I haven't got things done that I want to get done. And I mean, one of the other things that really gets me depressed and makes me cry a lot is finances. You know, it was only a year and a half ago, well, let's say 2 years ago, that I was able to buy things whenever I wanted. I was able to say, okay, I want to do this, that and the other thing. And I mean, if I was still working, I would have been able to have the room sorted already, because I would have been able to buy the paint and the carpet and everything already. I wouldn't be buying bits and pieces for the rooms. It would, you know, it would have all been done by now. But it's simple things. You know, I get my benefits, I pay my bills, and I'm on a no-buy this month because I have so many bills to pay that I don't actually have enough to pay them, so I'm having to get Thomas to pay those extra bills. I'm currently sitting in minus money in my bank, and obviously that's a private thing, but you know, that's just what's happened this month. So, I mean, things like that really get me down. You know, I couldn't even afford, whenever I was out with Lynn the other day, to buy us the cup of coffee that I generally buy, because I literally had no money of my own. It's things like that that I know that seems trivial, but it's something that we always do. You know, we take it in turns buying the coffee whenever we're out, and but I think what's really getting to me is we're getting so close to Christmas, and the lack of funds is scary. I really don't think that many people will be getting Christmas presents at all this year, because we just can't afford it. And I'm very blessed that Thomas has had the job he has for over 20 years, because if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be able to live in the house that we live in. We would have to move to a different house. And the thought of having to move again it scares the life out of me. But anyway, I don't really know how much I've talked about depression very well, but I want you guys to know that I do get it. Whenever you're feeling so depressed that you do feel like you want to end it all, I'm not going to say that it's going to get better tomorrow or next week, because I don't know when it's going to get better. But you do need support around you. You do need to talk to people. So if you're feeling like that, I urge you, please pop over to the Facebook group or send me a direct message on here or something. Just talk to people. Don't bottle it up. Don't keep it up. Pardon me. Don't keep it all into yourself, because that's just gonna make you worse. And I hate to think of you guys watching my videos and feeling so depressed and feeling suicidal, and me not being able to help you. I urge you, please talk to somebody. Even if it's not me, even if you don't feel like you can talk to me, talk to someone. I find a lot of people can talk to me because they don't know me personally, but because they watch my videos, they do feel like they know me. But because I'm not directly in your life, I'm non-judgmental. I don't know the goings on around you. I don't know the people personally that you may be talking about, so it's easier to talk to people like me sometimes. But my Facebook group, my Facebook group as well. I mean, it's a closed group. People don't see what you're writing on it, so you can write anything that you want, no matter how you're feeling. You can write it, and people will be there to support you and talk to you and love you. So if you are getting to the point that you can't cope anymore, please don't bottle it up. Talk to somebody. It isn't a fixer, but it helps to get that out, and you may find that there's other ways to help you. There's other ways to get support. Just by opening up and chatting to somebody. You may have missed some type of treatment, and I mean, I get it. When you wake up in the morning, you're in so much pain that you can't get out of bed all day, and it's agonising to move. You need people to help you to the toilet. I mean, I can't even plait my own hair again. You know, there was a time whenever I could, and it was great, because it was after I'd had the injection into my shoulder. It was great being able to wash and dry my hair and everything, but now I'm back to the stage where I can't, and it's really frustrating. But I digress again. But I have got times where I've been so depressed that I've just hoped that I didn't wake up in the morning. And I know that sounds terrible to some people who haven't felt like that, but I have been there. I've been at that stage where I just didn't want to wake up. I just wanted to go to sleep and it be all over. But I have a husband who loves me more than anything, and I would hate to do anything to hurt him. And my friends as well, my family and his family, who his family are just like family to me. I mean, I call his mum and dad just mum and dad, and his brother's the same. They're just my brothers. And they're also loving and caring, and I would hate to hurt them in that way. And I think that's helped a lot, you know, having people who I love so much that I would hate to hurt them, which has made me realise that I am that loved. So no matter how bad things get, I have people that love me. But it's not easy. I mean, there's times whenever Thomas leaves for work and I'm just lying in bed in so much pain and I'm just crying and crying. I mean, you guys have mostly seen my video that I did a couple of weeks of my bad day, where I just burst out into tears. I hadn't expected it to happen, but I owed it to you guys to just put that video out anyway, because it was raw, it was real, it was genuine feelings. But I mean, guys, for depression I'm actually on antidepressants, so you know, I also take those, and that helps a lot. So if you're not on anything for antidepressants, I urge you to talk to your doctor about it. Just be honest with them, because unless you're honest with them and tell them exactly how you're feeling, they're not going to know what to do to treat you. I mean, any doctor that does know and believes that fibro exists will know that one of the symptoms is depression. So just be open with them, tell them exactly how you feel, tell them that you need help, because until you do that, you're not going to get any better either. So anyway, I'm going to go doing a trial of Final Cut Pro at the minute, so hopefully I'll be able to get my head around that, and we might have a new editor. I can't even speak. So we'll see anyway. So I'll chat in a bit. I'm going to leave Marmalady now to groom herself like the weirdo that she is. Oh, I probably shouldn't have sat on the floor. But anyway. Oh, my elbow's really sore from holding this.